Hello friends, welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to a stream where I will be working on YouTube member related things. Let's say hello to all the people. We've still got the Christmas drop going, which is great. And hello Ben, welcome to the stream. Hello Joundy, hello Pengu, hello Conrad, hello Voucher, hello Angel, hello Ibhemanu, welcome. Hello Coding Pasta. Hello Daniel, hello Hari, hello Zuhaib, hello Ciorali, welcome, hello Jorge, hello everyone. Merry Christmas. It's the day after Christmas, but that's okay. It's still Christmas. Hello Infi, what's up? Hello Abunga. Hello Nexer. Welcome everyone. This will be a pretty short stream because I do have to go to work today, sadly. So I'll only be streaming for roughly an hour, more like 42 minutes, but we're gonna do some fun stuff. And hello Yash, hello Willy Lump Lump, it's been a while, welcome back, Merry Christmas. Hello Levi, hello Im Lajo, welcome. Hello Vivey. Motivation is saying, what's the difference between a member and a subscriber? Sure, so I'll show you. So on YouTube, I now have channel memberships enabled, meaning you can support me directly on YouTube. So you can click this join button. There are various tiers, and you're basically giving me money every month. So that's the difference between a subscriber and a member. A member pays money. And it's really just to support me. I don't have advertisements enabled on my channel. And yeah, if you want to support me, this is one way to do it. It's very similar to Patreon. However, it's integrated with YouTube, so it might be easier for certain people. Here you can see my private monthly income on Patreon. But you can see on Patreon all the tiers that I have available. They're very similar on YouTube. So those are YouTube members. And currently, I have 2 YouTube members. So shout out to Hippo Viva, who's the latest YouTube member. Thank you very much. And Cananello, who was our very first YouTube member. And the cool thing about it as well is on the YouTube chat, you get to use these custom YouTube emojis, like so, like that, which is fun. Oh, well, I have an issue parsing them in my chat manager. So that's what a YouTube member is. They used to be called sponsors. I think the latest terminology is a member. I don't know. That's what I'm calling them. And hello, Avi, who says, I ended up learning machine learning principles from Google developers. Well, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I know that is TensorFlow from Google? I don't know. They do machine learning stuff, which is cool. And hello, Julian. Welcome. Hello, Karan. Hello, Submicron. Welcome. Cool. So that's member stuff. And as you can see here, I have this API. So I built this morning. And again, I built it off stream just to avoid accidentally displaying potentially private information. But I now have this endpoint, youtube.coding.garden/members, that will give me back all of my current members, what is their current support tier, and how long they've been supporting me. So if you saw before, and we'll run it right now, my Patreon overlay, which I created, which is this. So Patreon, no, not Patreon, Coding Garden is, oh, actually, I gotta update this, just a second. 100. Here we go. Coding Garden with CJ is brought to you by viewers like you. And here they are, and we have a new one. Toby, welcome as a YouTube member. Thank you so very much. That's awesome. We did it. So what I'm going to do is all of the YouTube members that I'm listing in this API here will appear in this overlay as well, because right now this overlay is just Patreon members. And then the other thing is on my Q&A website. So if you go to qa.coding.garden, the other day we added Patreon integration. So if you're a patron and you ask a question, your question will be at the top. And so now that I have this API, we are going to use this member information to display a nice little icon next to people's name if you are a member. And again, as a member on the Q&A site, your questions will get priority. So that's what we're going to work on this morning. Right now, my API here is caching. So every 5 minutes it will request it. So we won't see Toby just yet, but in 5 minutes we'll request and we'll see him or them. Sorry. But thank you so much. Much appreciated. And hello, Dirkerall. Oh yeah, and Willy Lump Lump got their stickers. Nice. Yeah, so if you've been a patron for longer than a month, I sent out, and you live in the US, I sent out stickers before Christmas. And if you live outside of the US, your stickers will be coming pretty soon. And YouTube members as well. After you've been a member for at least a month, I'll send you some stickers. Oh, we'll turn that off for now. Cool. There we go. Cool, yeah. And hello, Ran. Welcome. Good morning. Look at that. Look at that. Thank you so much, Toby. Oh, wait. And Ben with the tip. No, and I appreciate. No, I'll read their message. And I get where you're coming from. Which is why I have multiple ways to support me. So you can tip just like Ben did. You can support me on Patreon. You can support me on YouTube. Whatever works for you is totally fine. And Ben says, I don't want to give Google my credit card. So yeah. Thank you so much, Ben, for the $10 donation. Much appreciated. And there's Cananello, who is a YouTube member. So the other cool thing is in my chat over. Oh, look at it. It's working. So you can see in my chat overlay, if the person is a YouTube member, it has a little icon and their name is yellow as well. So that's pretty cool. Levi says it's tradition on CJ's stream to flash credentials. Yeah, which is why I didn't do this. So you can see the, oh, here it is. So latest member Toby, who is a fertilizer, the $5.99 tier. Much appreciated. Cool. But so let's talk about some things first. So the there is an official YouTube API. So if you look at the YouTube data API, this is a thing. And they have documentation, and I believe, well, actually, it might actually be the live streaming. Yeah, live streaming API. So they have a few different endpoints on here. They do have a sponsors endpoint where you can list all of the sponsors for a given channel. The issue with this endpoint is it doesn't tell me what tier that they're on. So this will give me back all of my members or sponsors. I think they're working on the terminology. It used to be sponsors. I think now it's, yeah, so it's called channel memberships. I don't know. But if you hit this API, you just get back their name and channel ID. And I wanted to know your support levels so I can show a nice little emoji next to your name based on the support level. And that's not supported by this API. So one of the things I had to do was I looked at some of the undocumented APIs that are on the YouTube website to get this information. And it could break at absolutely any time. Is that another donation? What? What? Ben says, and thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. He says, the thing is, I'd subscribe into a $25 a month Patreon, but I don't have my salary exactly on the same date each month, and I want my membership to die. I appreciate you, and that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Ben. Ben has been watching the channel for a while. He's been in the chat a lot. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Many thanks. Cool. So, all that aside, behind the scenes, this has my credentials, which I definitely don't want to expose. So yeah, that's where that came from. And hello, Ashwin. Hello, Yash. Willie Lump says, I saw my name on the overlay. I'm geeked. Yeah. So if you support me, you'll get your name on there, which is cool. And hello, Domenico. Welcome. And hello, Florin. Merry Christmas from Hamburg, Germany. Thank you. Hello, Katoli. The thing is, I could Imphy. Right now, I have it only so that only members, it only shows up for members. And the main reason is because it's kind of like a perk. So only members are allowed to use that. That's the idea right now. I could technically open it up to everyone, but then there's less perks for becoming a member. Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate, Avi. So, and that's again why I have other supporting options. You can do Patreon, or a tip on Streamlabs, which goes through PayPal. But yeah. And hello, PayPay. Welcome back. And thanks again, Ben, for the tips. And thanks for the follow, Ben Aaron Dahmer. Welcome. Imphy is saying Google documentation requires too much context for my taste. You either read the whole thing or you don't understand it. It's very true. It is very true. Ashwin is saying, can you please explain the concept of caching API requests in the right methodology? We can talk about that because I'm actually doing that here. And it's for this API, it's a very simple concept. So you can see I added this property last requested time. Basically, I'll make a request to their API, store it in memory, And then if a request comes to this endpoint again, and the time is less than 5 minutes, I just return the existing response that's in memory. If it's not, meaning it's basically expired, then I'll request the latest one. So this is like caching, super simple caching in the most basic sense. There are other ways of doing it, like caching in a database and stuff like that. But yeah. And good morning, Ed. Hello. Welcome. Good morning, Greg. Welcome. MP says amount cents. That explains why it's always dollars. And actually, I'm just using the same property name that I have on the Patreon API that I created. This one. So it's a very similar format, so it'll be very easy to take this API, which is YouTube members, and plug it into my overlay, which I have. Because this API has amount cents, created at, reward ID. Similarly, I have amount cents, tier ID, because YouTube calls it tiers. I don't know. I should probably combine them into a single API and make it all one thing. But yeah. Members and mods. And Envy is a mod, right? I can do that. I'll do that. I'll allow. Yeah, so mods on YouTube can do it. I think I need to enable it for Twitch mods. Yeah, so there you go. It works on there, Envy. Hello, Matthew. Well, yes, but actually, no. Wait, did that oh yeah, yeah, it works because you're a mod, Ben. That's why. So I have it enabled for YouTube mods. I can enable it for Twitch mods too. And good morning, Robin. Welcome. Gluten Morgan Opti, welcome. Nadir is saying, can you make really good good money as a web developer? It depends, like where you are in the world, what kind of a web development job you have, but for the most part, it's a pretty good living. I would say so. Hello. Is AWS too expensive? Any other alternatives for MERN apps? It depends. Like AWS can be really cheap. So in my last stream, I showed AWS Light Sale, which is a fairly cheap offering from AWS. So you can get a pretty small server, so half a gig of RAM, 1 core, and 20 gigabyte hard drive for $3.50 a month. It's not that bad. There are tons of other offerings from AWS. This is just like Light Sale is just one thing. They're not lower. I just haven't implemented the logic yet. Happy holidays, Doc. Welcome. Oh, Conrad landed on top and kicked Alka off the top. Oh, and I woke up pretty early this morning. I got like plenty of sleep last night, and I made better collision detection for the drop game, which is cool. Yeah, it shows up, Katoli. Good job. Have I ever used globalized JS for dates? Seems very complete. I haven't before. I haven't really done any internationalization type stuff. Yeah. And hello, Andreas. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Good morning, Tyrone. Cananello is asking, what are the requirements for being a mod? It's really just hang around on the channel a lot. We don't really need any new mods right now, but you hang out a lot on the channel, Cananello, so you're definitely an option. So when we're looking for new mods, I'll definitely let you know. Why would I choose AWS over Heroku or DigitalOcean? So Heroku is more of like a platform as a service, in that they hide a lot of the implementation details, and behind the scenes, Heroku uses AWS or Google Cloud Compute, but they hide the details. DigitalOcean is a little bit closer to AWS because they're known as like infrastructure as a service, whereas you essentially rent entire virtual private servers and you can configure them all you want. I'm not totally familiar with DigitalOcean offerings, but I know AWS goes even further than that. Like you can get super specific about the types of hardware that you're renting in the cloud and stuff like that. Good morning, J. Philly Webb. Welcome. And Levi is asking, how would other VPS hosting providers differ from services? It really all depends on their offering. So, like I mentioned, DigitalOcean, it's kind of like platform as a service because you can rent virtual private servers in the cloud, which you can do with AWS. AWS has a lot of other product offerings. Google Cloud Compute is very similar to AWS. They both have like many different types of things you can do with it. I'm not totally familiar with Vultr. I do know they provide VPSs, but that's kind of the main difference. Like all of these provide virtual private servers. Heroku hides the details. It just says you get a what do they call it? It's not a droplet. you get a thing. And you don't know what kind of hardware it's running on or how fast the processor is. You just know you get an instance of a thing, and it hides the details. I don't know what Twitch did, but the latency is crazy high. That's unfortunate. A dino. That's what it is. Thank you, Experior. Real pricing. Contabo? Let's check it out. Is this like a host? Hosting. Interesting. Yeah, so I guess it's a VPS provider. Yeah, and Heroku uses AWS. Yeah, no worries. Good morning, Alex. Welcome. Yeah, Dino is the word for Heroku. I heard AWS now makes more than Amazon's retail site. It's I mean, that does not surprise me because like a very large percentage of the internet and the web runs on AWS. So that's a thing for sure. All right, let's make this happen. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make. Oh, and thanks for the YouTube sub, JRo. I mean, they've pretty much already taken over the web. Like I use AWS, but here's what we're gonna do. So this nice little overlay here with the patrons, we're gonna add at the beginning YouTube members. So that's the plan. Let's do it right now. I'm just gonna put it in the same app that is running the Patreon client. I'll need to move the folder later on, but let's open this up. We can see what we did last time. So this is just a basic web page that makes a request to my backend, which provides the Patreon, the list of patrons. And then we show them on the page. So we have a little user element with their name, the date, and the amount that they are supporting us with. We get the patrons. Yeah, great. So we're just going to add another endpoint here. Let's rename this one to be Patreon API URL. And then we'll have another endpoint, which is YouTube API URL. And it's very similar. It's my endpoint, youtube.coding.garden. So the interesting thing about the Patreon endpoint that I have deployed, which is here, is I have it set up with webhooks. So that's why you see that socket connection stuff happening. So basically, whenever I get a new Patreon pledge, Patreon will make a post request to my server, and then I automatically add that to the array of all the users. So I instantly know when I have a new patron. YouTube doesn't have anything like that, so I can't really do that. So basically, for contacting our YouTube endpoint, we're just going to make a fetch request. So we're not going to be using feathers or sockets or anything like that. We just fetch it. Cool. And we can see that I have reward emojis here. So basically it takes the Patreon reward ID and maps it to an emoji. We need to do the same thing with the reward IDs that are coming from YouTube, which are these, the tiers. So let's do that. Cool. So this droplet should be this emote. And then wallflower needs to be this one. And then this is the poo emoji. The avocado. Oh. And the tractor. Cool. And I guess I don't have ESLint in here. I'm gonna add ESLint because I don't like that we're mixing double quotes and single quotes, and ESLint will fix that for me. I literally wrote tractor. I'm a little off this morning. I guess I tried to search for the emoji. There we go. We'll check syntax. We're not doing any of that. None of that. Not using TypeScript. We're in the browser. What just happened? Oh, I don't... Man. It tells me that I need a package JSON. We'll create a package JSON. All right, let's catch up on the chat really quick. Yeah, Google Cloud Compute is also taking over the web as well. Pepe is asking, do I talk at any conferences or attend? I submitted a talk to ViewConf. I didn't get in though. They have like some pretty high profile speakers there. But yeah, I haven't really spent any time submitting conference talks. And I don't know why my YouTube delay is so high. I did enable low latency streaming on YouTube. It could be an issue with the multi-streamer thing that I use to stream to both YouTube and Twitch. I don't really know. Hello, Willie. Welcome. Yeah, I've talked a lot in Denver. So like I run the Denver Vue.js meetup. I've given talks at Develop Denver, which is a local conference we hold here. Yeah. I think this question is in relation to the Patreon webhook. Basically, it's just in memory. So when this API, the Patreon API first spins up, this will make a request to the Patreon API to get a list of all the patrons, and then it just saves that in memory. And now it's just an array in memory. And then anytime a webhook happens, it'll be an event like patron created or patron deleted, and then I just update this array. So if a patron was updated, I find the one with that ID, update either their amount since or the reward ID. And if one is created, I'll just push an object into this array. And because it's in memory, the next time I make a request to this endpoint, I have all the latest info. Oh, nice. Yeah, I actually haven't been to Dinosaur.js. Dinosaur.js is interesting because it is part of like the JSConf family of conferences. So you get some really high profile speakers there. But Develop Denver is a really cool conference, but it's all local speakers. Like every single speaker that talks here is just somebody that lives or works in the Denver metro area, like Boulder, Fort Collins, everywhere included. But it's a super cool conference as well. GitHub has a contract with Discord to make Discord tokens and public repos invalid. That's pretty cool. If you do !VS Code, you'll get a link to all of my settings and themes and stuff like that. And hello, Florin. I'm doing pretty good. Impy does have a lot of facts. Hello, Mahidra. Welcome. Hello, Vishnu. Welcome. Yeah, and thank you, Debopam. So that's the name of it. You can, if you search it on the VS Code theme site, you'll find it. But yeah, there's a link on there as well. I cannot use an emoji as oh, no, you can't. Yeah, so emojis only work inside of strings with single quotes. But yeah. And hello, Steven. Welcome. Yeah. I prefer Airbnb, mainly just because I've used it the most. I haven't really tried Google's, but I like the fact that Airbnb uses semicolons. They have single quotes. They have rules preferring const over let. They have rules preferring arrow functions. I like Airbnb's rule set. The difference between AWS and some shared hosting with cPanel. I think similarly, cPanel might actually hide a lot of things from you, whereas with AWS, you potentially have more control over the configuration. And cPanel is really just like a web-based interface to control the settings that you might control directly on an operating system, like if you have a virtual private server. There's more to it than that, but that's kind of the basics of it. RIP. So if the server restarts, the array is reset. Yeah, and so basically, if the server restarts, the next time a request comes into this endpoint, it's going to hit the Patreon API to get that initial list of pledges. Yeah. So similar thing happens with this endpoint. So you see the last requested time is 12/26/15/13. So if I request it again, we're going to see that the last requested time is like right now because it'll actually hit the YouTube API again. So request it again. Last requested time right now, because basically it saw it was expired, so it just requested all the data from the YouTube API again. And thank you, Do. Yeah, exactly. Inside of an object, it would need to be inside quotes too. Airbnb bans while and for loops and labels? What? I think you can have for loops. Pretty sure you can have for loops. Yeah, using the CLI is greater than plus, which is greater than cPanel. Yeah. Thanks, Dibopam. Bob's Paradox, who's one of the moderators on the channel, he actually created the YouTube theme. It's a variant of SETI Monokai, but with a darker feel to it. Yeah. I stopped using semicolons because I'm learning Python. Yeah, I used to do C#. Most of my programming in my life has been like C style with semicolons, so I prefer them. Hello, Alana. Yeah, that would work. Cool. So what we messed up was we didn't have an npm or a package JSON. Let's try initting. Well, let's just use Airbnb. Why not? So I'm going to install ESLint as a dev dependency. Cool. And then we'll do ESLint init. We're not using any of those. We're not using React or Vue. We're not using TypeScript. We're in the browser, and we're going to use Airbnb. Yep. So that installs the Airbnb plugins for ESLint. Aslam is asking, what are my thoughts on the Go language? I've only used it in passing. It looks pretty cool. Why is free debugs written on my laptop? It's a sticker. And it's actually part of the sticker pack that I'm sending out to people. But if you see me in a coffee shop working on my laptop, I'll help you debug things. I'm a pretty good debugger. And hello, Alana. Welcome. Okay, so we've got ESLint. We can see we have all these things going on. Let's fix those problems. So that's nice. Oh, we are using import syntax. We can fix that. So in our ESLint file, there's a way to enable modules. Serious buffering on YouTube? That's unfortunate. How do I enable? How do I enable modules on ESLint? Good morning, Jamie Davis. My Christmas was good. It was super low key, but yeah, it was good. ESLint modules enable import export. Configuring ESLint. Source type module. Here we go. Twitch is a wonderful place. Join us. So that goes under parser options. Like that. Cool. And then the other thing is feathers is a read-only global. And also IO. Like that. And let's close this stuff and then reopen it. Down with YouTube. Where are we? We're here. ECMA version 2020. Unexpected use of file extension JS for... Do I have to do JSM? That's weird. I don't want to do that. But I do have source type module. And thank you, Jens, for that tip. Source type module. So import syntax is not fully supported yet. It's experimental in Node version 13, and I was using it last stream, which is pretty fun. But you see a big warning in the console whenever you do it that says it's currently an experimental feature. But it'll probably be stable at some point. I was going to say soon, but I don't really know. Jorge says, I'm seriously waiting for the stickers outside the US. Yeah, I just have to figure out how that works. But this weekend, I'm going to figure it out. I have international stamps. I just need to make sure what countries those work for. And then figure something out for the countries that it doesn't work for. So yeah. And Imlado made it to the top of the tree. ECMA version 2020. Let's do it. Well, I mean, we're in the browser, so only certain things are supported. Just take the JS from the import statement. But it's running inside of the browser is the thing, so it needs that. I could try it. Let's see if it really even works. And let's start this up. Not found. Yeah, so because it's running inside of the browser and I'm not using any sort of build tool, it's fine. It's an ESLint error, but it's fine. I'm going to leave it. Hello, Ets. Welcome. We're not using TypeScript. All right, so we need to make a request to the YouTube API. It's interesting though. This whole thing is set up with patrons in mind. So like I have a div with class patrons. Let's update the text. So thank you to all the people that support me on Patreon and YouTube. Capital P, Patreon. Patreon and YouTube, cool. And let's rename this to supporters. Quick stretch. Time's flying. I've only got like 20 minutes. Oh, but why use TypeScript? A lot of people like the strictness of it because JavaScript is very open and loosey-goosey. And if you're not used to that, it can be very uncomfortable as a programmer that's used to things like that. And things like that are like C# or Java or really any other compiled language. And there are a lot of developers coming into the JavaScript world that want those types of features, which is why they use TypeScript. All right, so we renamed it to supporters. Let's make sure we find anywhere we're referencing patrons by class name. That's the only spot. That's good. So that, and then let's rename this variable to be supporters. You know what? No, we're going back. We're going to leave the patrons element, but we're also going to have a separate members element. So we'll have the patrons will go in this div, and then we'll have a div right above it with YouTube. No, we'll call it members. I like that a little more because the logic is a little bit different for getting both of them. So let's put it in a variable. We'll call it the members element. And then we have our get patrons function. Let's just create a get members function. And this is just going to be a fetch. So we're going to say the response is going to be awaiting a fetch to the YouTube API URL with /members on the end. Like that. And we're going to return response.json. So that should give us the members. Cool. We're creating the user element. I think we'll reuse this function, and we're going to pass in what the class name should be. And that will also tell us how to get the amount cents. Cool. So we get the patrons, then we add them to the page. Instead of add user to page, I'm going to rename this to add patron to page because it's explicitly appending to the patrons element. And now I can have a separate function called add member to page that appends to the members element. So we'll say add member to page. And we'll say members element dot append child user element. Cool. And then we'll do this. We'll say get members. We're going to get the users and the tiers. So in the YouTube API, they're called tiers instead of rewards. And then we do something very similar. We'll say users for each, add member to page with the user and the tiers. Let's rename that on add member to page. We'll call it tiers. Cool. And this will break because the create user element is looking for user.pledge. And for my YouTube API, instead of user.pledge, it's user.tier. So we will need to conditionally set that. So let's pass in type. We'll do it like that. And so we'll say user, well, let's call it support type. So we'll say user at that given support type dot amount sense, and user at that given support type, and user at that given support type. And this one too. Cool. So when we call it with add patron to page, we're going to pass in pledge, because that's the support type. And when we do add member to page, we're going to pass in tier. So it'll reach into the tier property. Let's see what we get. Toby! Undefined, undefined. We'll fix that. And I guess we could we could separate it. We could have two different titles. So we'll have thanks to all the YouTube members, and then thanks to all the patrons. Let's do that. Patreon on YouTube, and then we'll just do like an H2 that says like undefined since December 22nd, 2019. That's always fun, isn't it? Patreon. Yeah, so these are the YouTube peoples. I think I'm gonna do a 2-column layout as well, because at this point there are close to 50 total supporters, so it takes a while to show them all. So I think I'm gonna do a 2-column layout. All right, let's fix the undefined. So oh yeah, so it's tier ID. Oh, this is unfortunate. You know what we'll do? Instead of passing in. So here's the thing. So there is no reward ID. It's called tier ID. We can call it support prop. This is not ideal. So wherever we have reward ID, it actually needs to be support prop. And when we call it here, this is going to be reward ID. And when we call it here, it will be tier ID. Let's see if that fixes it. Fertilizer since December 26, 2019. Thanks to Toby and Hippoviva and Cananello, all my first YouTube members. Much appreciated. Cool, so it works. So now let's do like a 2-column layout. That would be fun. And let's catch up. Oh, let's look at the features that are in ES 2020. Oh, not that. Global this. What's that about? If you've written JavaScript for use in a web browser before, you might have used window to access the global this. In Node, you may have used global. That's pretty cool. So it's like a standardized way of getting the global, whether you're, and you don't have to write code like this to determine like, am I running in Node? Am I running on the browser? That's pretty cool. What else? Promise combinators. All settled, all, race, any. That's pretty cool. Well, this says added in ES 2015. Weird. So all settled, I guess that's the newest one. This is pretty cool. So right now, if you do promise.all, if any of the promises in that array throw an error, the entire promise all goes into the catch. Whereas all settled will wait for all of them to either be fulfilled or rejected instead of rejecting on the first rejection. So that's pretty cool. All settled sounds very useful. What else we got? String prototype match all. A lot of people have talked about this, but by default, the string replace function in JavaScript only replaces the first occurrence, and you have to pass in a regular expression to replace everything. And this just makes it so that you can just say match all, and it automatically matches all occurrences. So that's cool too. What else do we got? Big int, arbitrary precision integers in JavaScript. That's pretty sweet. And dynamic imports. ES 2020. Here we are. Thank you, Farhan. And Fernando is asking, how was my Christmas? It was pretty good. Like I said, it was chill. It's good. I haven't, Doc. Should I do it? A TypeScript checker on JS with check.js true. How would I enable that? I could do Alt-Z. I don't like word wrapping because it's confusing as to where the text actually is. I could technically format this, though. And I think because it's a span, it'll still just work. Oh, no. Yeah, so, like, we have a span for the money. And then that... Yeah, because I'm doing it, like, with spaces and stuff like that. That's mainly why I didn't do formatting. TypeScript is awesome, but never a replacement for handwritten JS. I totally agree. I think a lot of people just reach for TypeScript way too soon, though, because it's what they're comfortable with instead of actually learning about JavaScript. But, you know. Hello, Maruf. Merry Christmas. Why is for each a higher order function? So the definition of a higher order function is a function that either accepts a function as an argument or a parameter, meaning you can pass a function into that function, or a function that returns a function. So for each is a higher order function because it accepts a function as an argument. So here, when we say for each, we're actually passing it a function. That makes it a higher order function. Catch up. Hello, Ozma. Welcome. Hello, Lai. Hello, yes, sir. Greg is saying you can just set all those based in type in the create function. Yeah. I could pass in type and then return something different based on the type. Might be better. This is like really convoluted and somewhat confusing with all these nested brackets. Shout out to Hugh. Hello. No, the list is not one-time donations. It's just Patreon pledges and YouTube members. That's for another stream. But yeah, I am gonna do a separate API that communicates with Streamlabs to get all of the donations there, and also gets all of the super chats and puts that into one big stream. Yeah, we're gonna definitely appreciate and shout out all the people that support my stream for sure. Big int is in it. So the thing about ES 2020 is that it's just saying what features are officially in it, but a lot of things already support some of these features. And for something to even make it into a version of ECMAScript, they already have to have implementations in certain places like Node or in Chrome. So yeah, you can use big int in Chrome. I think you can use it in the latest version of Node too. So yeah. It's just a VS Code feature that uses the TypeScript checker. How do I enable it, though? Check.js true? Is that just like in my settings JSON? Let's see. TypeScript dot check dot npm is installed. No. What did you call it? Type checker? I guess not. I don't know. A function that returns a function is a factory function. Not necessarily. Usually factory functions return objects. But yeah. Why not use arrow functions? So I'm using arrow functions for these like inline functions. But if you have top level functions, I still prefer to use the function keyword. You technically could write these as like const thing equals thing, but I never preferred doing that even before const was a thing, because technically I could even, like, before const was a thing, you might have written it like var create user element equals a function. And I don't like this because then this is now an anonymous function. And also there are issues with hoisting and the scope of the function. So I still prefer to do it this way when you're just writing top level functions. Factories are for Java enterprise developers. And thanks for the follow, Usurper. Welcome. Oh, in JS config, I gotta create another file. That's too much work. Hello, Heretic. I've been in industry for over 10 years. And I have to go soon. We didn't get to the Q&A website. Let's make this a 2-column layout. We'll show it on the screen, and then I'll go, because I have to go. Prettier forces semicolons. I think you can disable them in, like, your settings. I don't know. To enable, add TS check. Let's try it, Siler. Thank you. That's easy. I'm open to doing that. All right, what does this say? Cannot find name. That's unfortunate because it doesn't take into my ESLint file, because my ESLint file is mentioning that these are global variables. So that's the thing. But let's see what else it yells about. Property style does not exist on type element. But it does, though. So, I mean, it would take some extra work. I would have to, like, figure out the right types. Far. All right, I'm not creating another file, though. No, I haven't tried it. So if you've ever seen Alka coding on his Twitch stream, he uses JS comments to create types for things, and I think that's like a wonderful happy medium, because you can get like IntelliSense when you like do dot for like property and method suggestions and stuff like that. But yeah, a React Dungeons and Dragons tutorial. What? And hello gamers. Hazrat, if you type !VS Code in the chat, you'll get a link to my theme. Okay, let's make this a 2-column layout. So right now we have some styles. Let's look at how we're styling patrons. Are we styling patrons? We're not styling patrons. So if we gave patrons a width of like 50%, let's do a width of like 42%. And then we set both patrons and members to be a flexbox. Display flex. It needs to be flex direction column, because it's going to go down. And we'll do flex wrap. That might do it. It didn't work. All right. For one, let's disable the animation, and let's just get the stylings working. Index.js. Oh, React drag and drop. Okay. No, I haven't used that before. That's funny though. Yeah, and then we'll get rid of the scroll animation. All right. Let's see what's happening here. Stream ended? Yeah, we're still here. Ending credits? Oh no, like that's actually what I'm working on. And also let's get rid of the overflow hidden so we can actually scroll this thing. Okay. So, they're all appearing in one column. We'll probably increase it to like 100% width and then figure out why this is happening. So, if we look at a patron, they have a width of 42%. Oh, we want to do inline flex. That's why. I think. Because if we do... Well, no, it should still work because technically the parent flexbox. So members. Oh, we need to give members a width. I guess we didn't give it a width. I think that's why. Take up 100% of the parent. No. Oh, it could, yeah, it could be like outtakes and bloopers. We could like actually embed Twitch clips. That would be fun. What's going on here? All right, so members takes up the, oh, I guess it's not wide enough. I think I had the max width as 40. Now we should go like 80. Cool, so that's better, but we do want to make sure that they're on the same column. So it's taking up the right amount of width. That's good. This thing is there. Flex direction column, flex wrap. That's what I need, right? Where are my Flexbox people at? What do I need to do here? I see. Oh, so there's a ton of, I shouldn't have padding. I should have margin. Good call. Let's make that, well, I don't think we even need that at all now. Okay. Look at the patron. I mean, if I did width like 20%? Oh, I could just do flex 1, couldn't I? Half flex. I mean, even if I did width 20%, would they show up on the same row? It's not going to look very nice, but do they? Yeah, they don't. So something else is going on here. Let's see. All right, I have to go. That's so unfortunate. All right, we'll get rid of all those styles. I have to go. But this was fun. Thanks for hanging out with me. Back. We're gonna do a single column. We're gonna let my supporters flow by, and in here we'll turn the animation back on, and here we go. So that's good. Let's get rid of that. I am open to pull requests. Yeah, I'll push it up to GitHub. I don't know if it's there yet, but if it's not, I will push it to GitHub. And shout out to Toby, who is the latest member, and Hippo Viva, who became a member when I was not streaming. Much appreciated. Cool. The overload of information becomes fantastic. Thanks, Hell on Earth. All right, so that's it. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with me. This was a quick stream, but we have this wonderful overlay. So Coding Garden is brought to you by viewers like you, including all the people that support me on both YouTube and Patreon. Shout out to Toby, Hippo Viva, and Cananello, who are now supporting me on YouTube. And shout out to all my other patrons who have been supporting me for a long time. Much appreciated. Alrighty, everyone. We might raid someone. Stick around in the channel. Be surprised by who we maybe raid. But wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful... Oh, no. Wait. I'll make sure that I show the patrons. But have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and night. And until next time, here's this.